Well, we're back for our final show of the season for this week in high school sports. Welcome, Steve. It's good to have you here again.
Thanks for having me, and a little bittersweet. I mean, we always kind of miss the next 12 weeks and not being able to showcase our athletes, but at the same time, happy for them and for them wrapping up their spring seasons, many of which went on to state tournaments and, in one case, a state championship. So kind of a fun show, but also going to miss this for the next 3 months.
Yeah, we meet some great students over the course of the show, and it's always sad to see them graduate and go on, but there will be another group that we'll get to know next year.
It'll be here quicker than we think, too.
Yes, it will. Okay, well, let's start with the track. You mentioned track and field, and we had a state champion, so let's get to that.
We did have a state champion. Not a huge surprise. He's done this before, albeit 2 years ago when he was a sophomore. Brandon Bach from Mountlake Terrace High School, the javelin thrower, state champion sophomore year, third place his junior year, and this season he comes back and wins another state champion. So, of course, we had to bring him in for the final show of the season. Here is Brandon Bach, the state champion javelin thrower from Mountlake Terrace. The high school state championships in track and field took place last weekend down at Mount Tahoma High School in Tacoma, and we have a state champion who emerged from the pack. Not somebody we were that surprised about either. He's won one in the past. Brandon Bach from Mountlake Terrace High School takes the 2A Javelin State Championship. Second time in the past 3 seasons. Brandon, congratulations on winning yet another title.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Talk a little bit about this, because you won a title your sophomore year. You take third your junior year, and now you come back and win another one. I've got to think when you win a championship your sophomore year, automatically one of the first things that pops into your mind is, I got a chance to do this 2 more times now. Yeah. A little bit more gratifying knowing that you did have to go through some hardships and weren't able to win it last year?
Yeah, my sophomore year, it kind of felt surreal. Didn't really feel like it was actually happening. Like, I didn't realize exactly what was happening until after the fact. But having taken third last year, definitely put my mindset into that I gotta work at it some more to get to where I need to be. And this year, I kind of knew that I had it right when it happened, and it was super exciting.
And you didn't exactly go the easy route either. You're also a standout on the football field, and as a lot of folks I think already out there already remember, you broke your foot late in the football season. Foot was in a cast for a while. I think you were in a walking boot for like 10 or 11 weeks. Yeah. You didn't even get that off until close to the start of the track season. How difficult was the journey this year, and how much did you have to overcome in terms of getting your strength and your speed back up to where it needed to be to throw the javelin?
So having been a boot for 10 weeks, I had to wear a steel insert inside my shoe for another 6 weeks after that. So I didn't really get a chance to be running or doing any weightlifting or anything like that because my foot wouldn't allow it. And it definitely took a toll on the season because I was supposed to be doing 3 other events, but my foot wouldn't allow it. The ligaments wouldn't stretch out, and I just couldn't do any other events, but still worked out for javelin. So.
Were you in pain when you were doing events? I mean, can you actually still feel it to this day, or how's the healing going?
Tiny bit. Usually when I get up to a full sprint is when I can feel it. That's mainly why I couldn't do the other events, because I am a sprinter and a jumper. So you have to get up to full speed to be able to do those events, and by the time I got up to full speed, my foot would hurt so bad that I couldn't continue doing the other events, so I just had to stop and continue the javelin.
So he grinded it out, made his way through the pain, and was able to get back onto the top of the podium for a first-place finish. Saturday, last week at the event, you didn't exactly get the ideal weather. Raining at the time, and it was funny because I know some of the other javelin throwers throughout the weekend for both boys and girls and other classifications. Their situation was a little bit different. It sounds like the rain kind of started kicking in right as the 2A throwers were coming out. How much does that change what you're trying to accomplish and how you have to kind of prepare?
It definitely impacts everybody, not even just me. It's when it rains that hard and it's a little bit windy and stuff like that, it can always mess up your throws, especially with your handle, because the handle is rope and it gets really slippery when it gets wet. So you have, like what I did is I just sat there with a towel every single time in between throws. I just sat there with a towel and just wiped it down as best as I could.
Yeah.
Just hope that it got dry.
So were you surprised at the distance of throw? I mean, I know you threw a 183 and you've thrown further than that in the past, but I have to think under those circumstances, a little more challenging. So what were your expectations when you were stepping up to make your throws?
I was hoping for it to be better weather, obviously. But, I mean, with the weather, I'm happy with what I threw. It's really hard to throw in weather like that. Not even, it's just for all throwers in general, in any other event. So discus and shot put, it's still hard to throw when it's really wet. So, you know, I'm just happy that I was able to take another state title.
And, you know, how many attempts do you get in the javelin?
So you get 3 prelim throws, and that qualifies you for finals, and then top 9 go to finals.
And then in the finals, you get how many throws?
3.
3 throws. So you step out there. Your first throw ended up ultimately being the winning throw, 183 feet. Did you think right after that throw, knowing that your competition and who they were, did you think that was good enough to win state at that point, or?
Not really, because I knew how close the kid right below me was to where I was, and I knew if he got a good throw, he could get past that. So I was just kind of hoping the whole time that I could just stick with that throw and not have anything go over it. But, you know, and that's what happened. So.
And he ultimately ended up throwing a 176. So you bested him by 7 feet. As far as the final round, was your last throw before his or after his?
After his.
After his. So you knew that if he had, in fact, at least passed you, you had one more opportunity anyway. Yeah. So what was it like sitting there watching his last throw?
Really nerve-wracking. It was definitely one of the most nerve-wracking moments I've had in track. I was just kind of sitting there, just praying that he wasn't going to get past me. But, you know, and then he ended up not, and that's when I kind of knew that I won. So I just got really happy, and then I didn't really care about my last throw too much, just because I was in the moment and
you already had it.
Happening, yeah.
Just one last throw, just for good keeping and just to end out your state career. You're not exactly the biggest guy in the world. And when you think of javelin throwers, you think of, I don't know, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". You stand at around 5'7", 5'8". Do you kind of enjoy the fact that you're able to go out there and beat the bigger guys? And what kind of responses do you get from them when they see you coming? I mean, do they expect that you're going to be as tough and fierce of a competitor as you are?
Yeah, I very much enjoy that. Going against people who are a lot bigger than I am, it's just kind of a good feeling to know that I have something over them. And, for instance, in football, like, size difference is not really a good thing. Like, if I'm going against somebody who's 6'6", 210 pounds versus me, 5'8", 150, it's not really even matchup. But in this, it's all about technique. So it's not really focusing on your body type and all that. It's just what you can do inside the event. But, yeah.
Forces you to be a little more mental and make sure that you're focused and you're getting everything done. And he's done it very well. Talk a little bit about the coaches who have had an influence on you. I mean, you're pretty fortunate in that your head coach at Mountlake Terrace is Russ Vincent, and I think he was a all-league shot putter in college at the University of Washington.
He was two-time All-American.
Two-time All-American, and then you've also got a pretty darn good one in Fred Luke, who helps you with the javelin.
He was a
Olympian.
Former Olympian.
Okay.
I think it was 78. If I'm correct, I don't know.
So you've got some pretty strong influences in your life to learn from. Talk a little bit about what it means to have those guys working with you and other folks as well.
Well, starting with Russ, he's an amazing coach. I've really never had anybody like him because he's been doing this for as long as he can remember. He's been doing this since he was in high school, even competing and coaching, all of that. He's just been doing it nonstop since high school, and it's just an amazing feeling to know, like, I have someone behind my back who's going to be, like, supportive and give me the right direction. And then Fred Luke, it's really exciting to know that I'm working with a former Olympian because I know what he can do. I'm pretty sure he topped out at 280 when he was throwing javelin around the Olympics. And he definitely knows a lot about the event, and he definitely helped me with a lot of my technique, told me what I was doing wrong, told me what I needed to fix, and they were just both overall really helpful.
Yeah, beneficial to have both of those guys on your side. So we kind of look ahead. What's next for you? I know you've got a trip coming up to Miami next month. Talk a little bit about that.
U.S. Junior U20 Championships. It's down in Miami. Takes place on the 21st through the 23rd. I'm going to be throwing on Saturday that day. I'm just really excited. I don't really know what to expect because I've never really done anything like this. So I'm just kind of excited and kind of nervous at the same time.
The best of the best for the high school world anyway. Or U20, that means even you've got some probably some college freshmen in there as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just kids who are in high school. The U20 part of it just means
Covers some of those who are a little bit, okay.
Covers the people who are maybe a little bit into college, but not really. It's just that general age area, so around what I am.
So expectations are high for as far as what kind of competition you're going to get.
And there's some kids who are throwing below me, some kids who are throwing a lot above me. It's just a really wide competition range, and I'm really excited to actually compete against some people who are at exactly where I am. And it's just comforting to know that, like, I'm going to be competing at a really, really high level.
Absolutely. And we should point out, too, this is probably a nice showcase for some college coaches. You're undecided at this point, so I've got to think that that's in the back of your mind as well. Are you hoping to kind of showcase your abilities for them while you're there?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out exactly where I would like to go. So one of my coaches for this year, for my high school season, Joel, he is actually a USA track and field coach, and he has 2 other athletes competing at the U20 championships, and he has a lot of outlets and stuff like that. So he got me some interviews, or not interviews, kind of like meetings with some D1 schools. Not really going to name any. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. But so I'm really excited to meet with some coaches and see what could possibly be in the future.
So there are definitely some opportunities there. And we should mention, too, I mean, you had a fantastic football career at Mountlake Terrace. I know all-state punter one year, all-league kick returner, wide receiver, DB. Any intentions of playing any kind of football in the future, or is track going to be where you're going to keep most of your focus?
Mostly just trying to stick with track as of right now. I mean, if football things come up later on, if I really miss football, if a coach really wants me down there because they know that I'm at the school, I mean, just kind of waiting to see what happens with that. But for right now, I'm just kind of focusing on track.
That makes sense. And we should also mention, for your efforts this week and for winning another state championship, Brandon Bach is, in fact, the Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week. So we've got a T-shirt for you there, Brandon.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations and enjoy that. And I did want to give one more shout-out, too. I know the first time we ever had you on the show, over 2 years ago, your sophomore year, you were joined at the time by your brother, Austin.
Yeah.
Austin's kind of gone on to bigger and better things. Now, talk a little bit about what he's up to. And I know he just got himself a new job recently, right?
Yeah. During his high school career, he also did track. Like you said, we came here once before. So he actually did a fire program during his high school. And after that, he went straight into kind of a fire academy type thing. It was more like
and graduated with high honors too, I might add.
He graduated in the top of his fire academy class and stuff like that. He's doing really well. He actually just got a job down in Eastern Washington. It's like an hour north of Spokane. He's going to be fighting wildfires down there. So I'm super excited for him.
Yeah, very excited for him in Austin. Be safe out there while you're doing that, and best of luck to you doing that. But again, Brandon, congratulations on everything you've been able to accomplish in high school. Again, 2 state championships to go along with the 3rd place, which isn't too shabby either. Yeah. And then, of course, all the football accolades as well. And again, best of luck in Miami, June 21st through June 23rd at the U.S. Junior Championships. We'll keep in touch with you, and we'll keep following Brandon and see what he's up to next. Thanks.
Yep.
I remember when Brandon came in here as a sophomore, and wow, he's really changed, grown up, gotten more mature. It's funny how that happens.
It is, isn't it? And I've noticed the exact same thing, and I mentioned that to his dad recently. Yeah, we get to see that quite often, especially with athletes like Brandon who excel even at a young age, and then we get to talk to them again, whether it's a year or 2 later. And I think Brandon's been in here on a few different occasions now for both track and football, and it's been certainly fun to watch his maturity both off the field as well as on the track and on the football gridiron as well. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it sounds like the future is bright for him. And speaking of bright futures, we have a couple of Edmonds-Woodway track and field athletes to talk to.
We do, not only with bright futures, but also they had a heck of a weekend last week. So they ended their high school sports careers out in very high fashion. We've got 2 of the athletes that participated on the Edmonds-Woodway team, a team that took multiple athletes down and had a handful of folks who ended up placing on the podium. But here are 2 of the athletes that we had a chance to talk to, Dylan Hartono and Eunson. Now joining us to talk a little state track and field are 2 of the members from the Edmonds-Woodway Warriors track and field team who participated in the state championships this past week. We have 2 seniors, Eunson, who is a thrower at the school, discus and javelin. And then we have Dylan Hartono, who 1,600 and 3,200 at state. Both of you, congratulations. Dylan, I want to start with you. Second place in the 1,600 at the state championships. Congratulations. That's a pretty big deal. You finished outside the top 10 last year in that event. What was so much different this year?
Thank you. Last year was a little tough for me because it was my first time at state, and I wasn't used to the heat and all the pressure that state champions usually have, and I didn't really have it that time. But this year I really pulled things together. I visualized the night before to race real fast, and I ended up being in second.
Now, the state championships take place down at Tahoma High School in Tacoma, and it's a 3-day event. So your first event was which one?
The 1,600 meters.
So that's the one you took second place in.
That's right.
Thursday night, and you didn't exactly have a nice, peaceful, restful morning either going into it, right? Talk a little bit about what you had to do at school that day.
No, that morning at school I had to take my last IB test for chemistry, paper 3, and it was at 7 o'clock in the morning, a little groggy, and then 1 hour later I was done. I switched my mentality down to track. I took a lot of rest, and yeah, it was a shaky morning, but my coach says when all things seem bad, it's always great to race fast.
And he raced very fast, taking second place. And we should mention 4 seconds off the leader. And then there was, I think, 3 other runners you all ran a 4:16, the second, third, fourth, and fifth place, which is very quick, by the way, very fast. Talk a little bit about the race itself. What did it look like? Did it kind of break the way you expected it to? And what were your expectations going in?
You know, I think both of the races at state this year went completely out of plan. I think for the 1,600 meters especially, I thought everyone was going to be right behind that number 1 guy. But I think Bradley Peliquin had a really great day, and he just separated himself from the pack. And for me, I ran with those guys from the very start, and I think I took some time a little back in the second and third lap, but fourth lap, final lap for the 1,600, I started kicking in, and even at the last 200 meters or 100 meters, I passed about like 6 guys, I think.
And Billy, you mentioned to me earlier, you actually got to watch the race, correct?
I got to watch it from like the tent, so we were like behind the fence, so we just saw him kind of run around the curve every once in a while.
Kind of nice to see one of your high school teammates passing all those people down the stretch there.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty cool. Hey, talk a little bit.
That was for finals, not prelims. I was doing discus during his prelims.
Oh, you were okay. Yeah, a lot going on during those 3 days too, I might add. And you participated in 2 events this year.
Yeah.
I know you've thrown the discus at state before. Mm-hmm. This year you added the javelin to it as well. So talk a little bit about your week. 7th place overall in state. That's a nice ring to it, doesn't it? I know you took 10th last year. Overall, pleased with the way things turned out?
Yeah, I just wanted to redeem myself and get into the podium.
Top 8 get the podium. So
yeah, last year I missed finals by 4 inches, so I was a little salty about that. But I was able to, get up, and it was really hard because last year the competition was not as hard as this year. This year's competition was crazy. The amount of people over 120 feet there was 10 of us, I think. So it was crazy. That's not normal.
Well, and being over 120 feet, I know something you weren't even doing until about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You were kind of in that 110 range or the teens. What's been the biggest difference for you over the last couple of weeks to get to where you are, to where you could finish in 7th place?
Mental state, like he said, visualizing and just being able to not get in your head about how everybody else is doing, because it's all about you. I mean, you're not physically racing against somebody, you just throw by yourself. So I think just being able to do the best you can and not focus on everybody else is how you get better.
And how much of it is mental? I mean, even for you, Dylan, I know you kind of know what you're capable of running on any given day. You could do that even when you're by yourself on a track. But when you have other competitors around you and you're jockeying for position, how much of it is mental?
It's very mental. I honestly, I think every single race you need to be in the right mental state, and you need to be calm and ready to win in any situation, because every race is different, and you can't change your fitness. You've already built so much. It's to be honest, it's to be in the top. You have to in the top places. You really have to have that mental state and be able to handle the situation with a bunch of runners at your fitness level and your strength.
Speaking of the psychological part of it, you've both been there 2 times now. This is your 2nd year participating at state. Is it a lot different the second time around, knowing that you kind of know what the expectations are? And I've got to think the first time you go down there, Bella, there's probably a lot of nerves that are going into the whole weekend as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How much easier is it the second time around than maybe the first year?
Definitely easier. Yeah, like you said, you're not as nervous. I mean, I was a little more nervous this year because A, it's my senior year, and B, because of the competition was crazy, but I was able to handle it better because I had already experienced it and I knew what to like do, or like what I was, what was gonna happen in terms of warm-ups and like how many throws and like time and everything. I don't know.
And Dylan, for you, we mentioned already your Thursday event, which was the 1600. You then turned around on Saturday and ran the 3200. 8th place finish. Tell me a little bit about that race. What were the expectations and how did you feel?
Yep. It was a good race for the 3200. My coach and I were planning to finish a little higher than we did. I think it was just the conditions of being really cold, really rainy, and a lot of jostling with those positions from like 5th to 8th place. And I didn't really get into my rhythm and really push through that race. And even going to that mental state, I don't think I was there.
Diego taking 4th in that race, correct?
That was an amazing race for him. He ran really fast, and even given all the conditions and all the problems that were happening with the weather, he really stuck through, and he finished in 4th.
Does it help to have teammates out there on the track with you during a race like that, or?
It does, even in training. You know that a guy has been running with you, training with you every day, finishing around the same time as you. It's really nice to see when he's right next to you in the race, and even if he's like miles ahead of you, it's nice to see that the work that he's put in and you've put, and for me, I put in. Both of us got to very high finishes at state.
I was noticing one thing about you when I was looking at some of your times, and I was going through both of your notes through your last 4 years of school. Did I see this correctly? Did you have a 9th place finish your freshman year in the Wesco freshman championships? Because I guess the thing that stands out to me is that here's a guy who is competing with other freshmen as a freshman in his own league and isn't finishing super high. And now here we are your senior year and you finish 2nd place in state. How much of that's just hard work and effort, and how much of it's just body growth and other things, and how much of it's coaching? I mean, what do you attribute some of your successes over the last few years?
Honestly, I don't even remember freshman year of track, but I don't remember running at Wesco. Actually, I probably did, but I think it's all the coaching and all the teamwork, or the work I've done with my team. My coaching, of course. Al's such a great coach, even though he's retiring this year. I can attribute it to physical growth and growing my mental state after racing so much times. But I think honestly it was the team that's helped push me to train year round and do those miles that don't always seem fun.
Mm-hmm. And they pay off in the end. That's Al Bonney, by the way, who's been the longtime distance coach over at Edmonds-Woodway, who's basically we'll just call him a legend because that's more or less what he is, right? Retiring at the end of this year. And Bella, for you, we've talked about your discus. We didn't talk about the javelin, an event you qualified for the first time at state. You took 12th. I know not your primary event, but nonetheless, top 12 finish. How'd you feel about that?
I feel pretty good. I mean, I came in seated 15th, but I came in with a really bad score, so we were kind of surprised I made it in general. But being able to, both me and Kiona, being able to bump up from, I think she came in 13th and I came in 15th, from being able to bump up to 11th and 12th was really nice.
Yeah, that's
even if we didn't make it into finals, but.
It's a PO, right? Did I say her last name right? Finishing,
a PO.
Yeah, finishing in 11th place. So 2 Edmonds-Woodway finishers in the top 12, a very cool thing. And we should also mention Victoria Keys. Nice job for her in the discus, I think, finishing 4th. So a lot of success at Edmonds-Woodway once again for throwers, and we've seen that over the years. How about a little shout-out for the throwing coaches over there? Who are we working with?
For discus, we have McT. We have Brett McT. He's awesome. He's like a dad to me. He's like a dad figure. He's awesome. And then we have he's also the javelin and shot coach, but then we have an assistant javelin coach who's actually the hurdles coach, Nolan. I don't know his last name, but he's really good too. He threw crazy distances in high school. He threw like a 210-foot javelin throw in high school, and so he was holding back on us and didn't tell us until the shoreline meet this year that he was really good, and he could have been helping us all season, so it's disappointing, but
Go and help out more in the future, would you? So,
he will.
but a great coaching staff over there. We should mention too Rick Philman, who always does an outstanding job. Did want to mention some of your teammates before we sign off too, because really it was once again another banner year for Edmonds-Woodway. Always strong track and field programs over there. Let's mention maybe some of the runners first. The girls, the relay teams did it really well, right?
Yeah.
Bella, talk a little bit about that. Not very common for us to see a 4x1, a 4x2, and a 4x4 at state.
Yeah, no, I think it's the first time it's happened in a while. Yeah, no, I know we have had 2 relays go in the past. Last year there wasn't any relays at all, even guys as well. But I know my freshman year and sophomore year, they got multiple relays in. I don't think they got all 3 in, though. If I remember my coach saying correctly, my coach saying that it's been a long time. It's been quite a few years before.
And Caitlin Rust finishing 7th place in the 400. So I'm sure some of you distance runners, you kind of take pride in when other runners are doing well as well, right?
That's true. I think Caitlin was a distance runner for the longest time, cross country for 4 years. Yeah. But I don't know what got into her. She decided not to do softball this year and did track.
I think it was her mom.
Her
mom was like, you need to run.
Mom, she knows what she's talking about. 7th place finish. So very well done. And then we've got some of the other runners too. Obviously, Chinadu Achelanu placing on the podium in the 100, the 200, and the 400. I'm guessing not a big surprise there. But it sounds like the 400 is something he's worked on a little bit more this year.
Yeah, Chinju's crazy. He's fast all the time. I think he was just a little stronger this year on the 400. We don't know what to attribute that to, but I think he's really worked hard to get those places.
Yeah, 5th place in the 400 at state, 7th in the 100, and 8th in the 200. And then you've got a pretty good hurdler over there, Marcus Dilworth, too.
Yeah.
Marcus can get it done. 4th place in the 300 hurdles, 7th place in the 110, and then, of course, our friend Lucas LaCambra taking 8th in the 1600. So I've got to think you were kind of happy to see him out there with you as well.
Oh, yeah. Both of us were real proud about our performances. Lucas, he wasn't as happy because he finished at that same place last year, but, I mean, he's on to better things in college.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic career. Speaking of college, 2 of you are both seniors, so what's next?
Yeah, I'm going to University of Washington. Sadly, I wasn't able to get on the team for running. But I will be running club for University of Washington.
And maybe perhaps in the next year or two, show the coaches over there what you've got and to see maybe on that purple and gold team at some point, right?
I'll show them what's up.
There we go. We like it.
2nd place in state.
And then Bella, you're staying in state, but you're heading over the other side of the mountains, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Central Washington, and I'm going to throw there, which I'm really excited about.
And it's something that's always been a goal of yours, you mentioned too, right?
Yeah, being a college athlete for sure has always been a goal.
And you were telling us you've got a very interesting career aspiration. What do you plan on maybe doing down the road?
I plan on getting a Bachelor of Fine Arts and a minor in Law and Justice, so I can do like detective, police, sketch artist work, and like composite sketch artist work, and like facial recognition.
There we go. So we've got 2 very aspiring young individuals here who are going to see their bigger days ahead, but they had a huge weekend last weekend. And by the way, for your efforts, I wanted to give each of you an Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week shirt. Bella, you get one for this week. You were our Female Athlete of the Week this week. So congratulations going down and participating in 2 events and getting the podium for 1. And then Dylan, we owed you one already from earlier this season. So we have an Action Jackson Plumbing shirt for you as well. So we want both of you to wear those with pride and enjoy those. And again, congratulations on everything you've been able to accomplish at Edmonds-Woodway. And we look forward to hearing how you both do in the future at University of Washington, Central Washington, and beyond. So congratulations.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I was telling Bella about the joys of doing outdoor sports at Ellensburg, having grown up there, and I'm not sure some people realize just how hard the wind blows, but good practice for when she goes somewhere else, right?
A wind city with a javelin thrower, or a discus thrower in her case, or whatever it might be. Yeah. I've got to think sometimes it probably works to your advantage too, depending on which way the wind is blowing. But yeah, you definitely get to learn how to throw in the elements over there when you're over in Ellensburg. So best of luck to Bella, and that'll be kind of fun to see how that plays out.
Yeah, yes, indeed. All right, so I know we have some other sports to wrap up and some other events to talk about. Yes.
Yeah, we just wanted to give a quick shout out to some of the other sports sports as well, and some of the other athletes too. It wasn't just Edmonds-Woodway and Mountlake Terrace down at the state track and field championships. To all of our athletes that participated in spring sports this year, congratulations to all of you. We had 2 softball teams, Edmonds-Woodway and Meadowdale, both make it to state. Meadowdale, who I thought had a really good shot to go far into that tournament, unfortunately the draw didn't work out to their favor. They got Bonnie Lake in the quarterfinals, and Brooke Nelson, I think, the star pitcher for Bonnie Lake. If my memory serves me correctly, I think she's the all-time strikeout leader in the state history. She's going to UW next year, so not exactly an ideal draw, but nonetheless a great season for them. We had tennis athletes from both Edmonds-Woodway and Meadowdale participating at the state tennis championships over the weekend, and just a really solid spring for a lot of our athletes around here, so congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody. And you also were the MC of the sports banquet.
I was. The Edmonds School District Sports Banquet. They do their event annually in late May, and had a chance to MC that event. 17 different athletes receiving scholarships of various sorts. Athletes slash athletic trainers as well. I want to single out 2 of the athletes that had the largest scholarship winnings, if you will, or awarded to them. Adriana Valadez from Meadowdale High School and Kristen Rainin from Edmonds-Woodway, both receiving $3,000. So congratulations to the 2 of them, as well as the other 15. And oh, by the way, we should also throw out that 4 coaches and 4 community members were also honored. So a real joy to be at that event and to see those folks who work so hard behind the scenes get that recognition as well.
Yeah, and every year when I've attended or when I've read through the descriptions of those students, we say it whenever we have them on the show, that we can't believe how accomplished they are, but it's amazing. And if you ever get depressed about the future of the world and what hands we're leaving it into, we're in good hands, folks.
It's a scholar-athlete event for that banquet, and they're being recognized. Obviously, all of them have done something in the athletic world as well to stand apart from others, but really what they're being honored for is their work not only in the classroom but also in the community. So it really is a special night. And if you get a chance to go look at some of the pictures on My Edmonds News or Linwood Today or MLT News, very much worth it. And a lot of respect for all those folks.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap up now for the year. And first of all, we want to, as always, thank our sponsor, Red Onion Cafe and Seafood Bar, for supporting us this year and the last few years. And a reminder, too, that they Sean Richards from the Cheeseburger Babies Foundation, who is the owner of the Red Onion Cafe, they're actually sponsoring the 3rd of July again this year at Ballinger Park there on the lake in Mountlake Terrace. So if you're looking for something to do on another day besides the 4th of July, the 3rd of July event is a fantastic fireworks show.
It is.
So be sure to catch that if you want something to do. And we will see you all starting in the fall with fall sports.
Yeah, football season, and they're already starting to practice, or at least I know some of those teams are going to be attending camps here in the next few weeks. And then we've got, of course, cross country, boys tennis, girls soccer, a lot going on in the fall. So we'll hopefully be right back here in 3 more months and ready to go and to talk about more of our Edmonds School District athletes.
Yes, we will. Have a great summer, everybody. We'll see you then.
Take care.